Many ideas from the first movement are featured in the second. For example, bars 1 to 2 of movement 2 echo bars 6 to 7, or motif B, of the first movement. After that descending scale, you have another reference in bars 3 to 4, this time to bar 21 of the first movement with the rising scale and falling fifth. And then, bar 6 to 7 linked to bar 32 of the first movement. There you have a monotonal fanfare in the horns 2 bars before RM 49. However, this clashes. This second movement is like a classical scherzo and trio, a scherzo being a musical joke, but it's also a grotesque waltz, and is in rondo form, however not in the classical sense. The structure is quite ambiguous. Flutes, oboes and piccolo clarinet develop the monotone idea at RM 50 and again at RM 52, this time by violin 1. At RM 52 plus 4, the violins trace a clear triadic pattern of A flat, G, F, E minor, and then C minor is established here at section B. This is at RM 53. The dotted figure from the first movement dominates here in the very form. The waltz-like accompaniment in trombones and tuba relates to the horn's previous fanfare. And here we have section C. This is from RM 54 to 58. And it's here that all sorts of ideas are drawn together into a single section. It starts with a familiar fanfare, again on the horns, but with a much more military sound, and this is provided by the snare drum. The snare drum is heard at 54 and again at 56. Coming up to bar 83, and section C closes with an arresting orchestral effect achieved by a sudden crescendo over an octave leap. Woo, there it is, with glissandi in strings, coupled with muted horns played forte.
Section D is the trio and is played ritardando with a simple melody, the naivety of the violin. Notice the little leaps, the minor third, then the perfect fourth, and then the octave with the glissando. Lots of lovely little effects to really make this bit sound all childish.
Although the tonal centre is C, it is contradicted with accented non-harmony notes and hinting at distant keys such as E. The key centre is challenged by the major sixth of E to C sharp. There's also other effects, like at RM 59 you have pizzicato, and here the flute shares the melody. There's effects now on harps, violas and cellos. And then we have tutti. And then a brief announcement of the fanfare, which is monotonal. Here we have a principal melody returns, a semitone lower in D sharp at RM 62. There's a semitonal relationship, but it has a counter melody in violin 1. We just had the horns play the monotonal figure again in E minor, but now we're back to C. Then we have the horns play another fanfare, but this time it's a tritone away from C major. It's F sharp, which is an augmented fourth tonality. Remember the tritone? From RM 68 to RM 69 we have section A again. The opening is now played by the bassoons. The orchestration is also different. The violins, violas play a gentle pizzicato version of the horn monotone, originally heard 2 bars before RM 49. The trill is rescored for flute and piccolo. The first A episode closed in C minor, but here it is the F sharp which is emphasised. The tonal relationship is therefore tritonal and unstable. C to F sharp once more. Here! And now we have B again at RM 69. The dotted figure familiar from the start of this movement is restated several times with different orchestration, including the xylophone, which highlights the initial notes of the figure at RM 69, the dotted march figure. Oh, it's like we're in Mexico. As if to reinforce the tritonal tension, Shostakovich gives an F sharp, C sharp ostinato figure to the tuba at fortissimo volume. Bear in mind that this section is supposedly in C minor. So the strident dot and march figure persists on C minor, interrupted by the fanfare, which was returned to the horns. Until finally, a few bars before RM74, the naive melody first heard at RM58 makes a brief reappearance played on the oboe. At RM74 to the end we have the coda, the key center is unsettled, but we finish on an A, in bare octaves.